What if a single ring hidden for decades turned out to be the key to the final message from Diana? When Prince William opened his mother's old jewelry box, he discovered a secret he never could have imagined. An inscription in Latin, a whisper from the past one that only those involved could understand. Do you want to know why this made William remain silent? Join us as we uncover the story of the forgotten jewelry box through time. What do you think about the secret gift that Prince William discovered? Could it be a message Princess Diana wanted to pass on to her family? Leave a 1 if you're curious about royal secrets, and if not, leave a 0. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on the exciting videos coming up. It all didn't begin with a grand ceremony or royal decisions. It began in a peaceful and quiet moment. At Althorp House, where Diana spent her childhood and where she rests for eternity, Prince William stood in a room that had remained untouched for decades. The silence was profound, and the golden rays of the afternoon sun streamed through the window, casting light on the dust particles floating in the air. In front of William was a simple velvet box, once belonging to the woman the world admired, the mother he called by one simple name, Mum. He had expected to find a crown, a pearl necklace, or sparkling sapphire stones, the precious items Diana often wore to grand ceremonies. But when he opened the box, the shimmering light of ancestral treasures was no longer there. Instead, he discovered something far more intimate and simple, an ivory-colored envelope showing signs of age gently tinged with yellow. The inscription on the envelope, written by his mother's hand, was clearly not meant for the public. William, his name, written in Diana's own delicate handwriting. There was no royal wax seal, no official stationery, just the gentle words of a mother. Prince William was stunned. He opened the envelope, his hands trembling. As the envelope unfolded, it revealed not only a ring, but also a message full of meaning. The deep emerald ring, intricately designed, was unlike any of the other jewelry Diana had ever owned. But the most important part lay in the note inside, written with a clear sense of responsibility for the one who would carry on both tradition and ideals. This was not just a piece of jewelry. It was a symbol, a compass, a final reminder of the mission Diana had nurtured. Upon closer inspection, Prince William noticed the Latin inscription engraved on the ribbon inside the ring, Veritas Lux. Truth is my light. It was a message meant for the one who would bear this immense responsibility. The ring was not just a piece of jewelry. It was an eternal symbol, a guiding light for a future that Diana would never witness. This jewelry box had been kept at Althorp for many years, under the care of Diana's brother, Earl Charles Spencer. It was hidden in a room that no one was allowed to enter. For years, no one knew the contents of the box. Then one day, when the family began a project to catalog Diana's personal belongings, the box was discovered. But what had been concealed all these years now raised countless unanswered questions. Why was this ring separated from Diana's other royal jewelry? Why did no one in the monarchy, where everything is protected and monitored, know about its existence? And most importantly, why did Diana leave it for William alone? Some say that when he discovered the ring, he was moved to tears. Others recount that William remained silent for hours, saying nothing. But one thing is certain: when he left that room, his state of mind had completely changed. It was not for wealth, nor for status, but for the voice of a mother echoing through time, meant for the child who would carry the weight of both tradition and truth. What did Diana see that was about to happen? What was she afraid of? And what did she know that no one else did? Though the box had been forgotten by time, the message inside now shines like a lighthouse, lighting every path ahead. Stay tuned, as what William uncovers next could change the fate of the royal family forever. Princess Charlotte, though born into royalty, has grown up in a world full of complexities where legacies are quietly creating a battlefield. On the surface, her world seems to sparkle with crowns, festivities, and grand ceremonies. But beneath that glamorous exterior, a silent tension is waiting to erupt, a tension that began long before she was born. Charlotte, whether aware or not, stands between two royal women who have never shared the throne, yet their shadows are deeply etched upon it. On one side is Princess Diana, a name forever tied to tears and public applause. To the public, she was a symbol of compassion and courage. But to William, Diana was more than just a symbol. She was a mother, a presence that has always lingered in his life. Family moments from old photographs to tapes with her voice continue to live vividly in his memory. On the other side is Queen Camilla, the woman who married into the royal family but has never escaped the scrutinizing gaze. Her image, always meticulously groomed, does not bring warm smiles, but seems to lack depth. Her relationship with William's children, though cordial, lacks the warmth of a true family. There are no spontaneous hugs, no laughter around the kitchen table. While she is very close to her biological grandchildren with George, Charlotte, and Louis, the connection feels distant, with visits always carefully planned. Interactions among the royal family often seem carefully staged. In contrast, Charlotte quietly absorbs everything around her. Those close to the family describe her as a child who observes keenly always, noticing changes in tone and habits, listening more than speaking. Though just 9 years old, she has already earned the title of the most perceptive child in the family. Perhaps this is why the recent whispers about a quiet murmur, an obvious hesitation, and the subtle distance between Charlotte and Camilla have sparked such curiosity. Has Charlotte sensed the divide, felt its weight? Has she perhaps unknowingly started to empathize with the grandmother she never met, but seems to understand on a deep, instinctual level? William and Catherine have always strived to raise their children with emotional awareness, cherishing their feelings and encouraging them to speak the truth gently. But what happens when that instinct is torn between royal duty and personal truth? Charlotte's life will always be torn between royal duty and the personal truths she must face. But it is through her choices, the people she turns to, and what she says when the cameras aren't looking that something deeper is being revealed. Charlotte may still be young, but in this royal family story, she is far from a supporting character. The loyalty she is beginning to form may shape the future of the monarchy in ways more powerful than anyone could imagine. For decades, Camilla Parker Bowles has lived in the shadow of royal history. She was a name rarely mentioned, a controversial figure. However, now Camilla wears the crown, officially crowned as queen, and standing alongside King Charles in the historic responsibility she must bear. Despite this acceptance of her remains a challenging task. The title may have been granted, but trust and recognition from the people must be built and nurtured over time. Inside the palace, Camilla's path has never been smooth. Her relationship with Prince William remains one of politeness and outward respect, yet emotionally distant. Though William has never openly criticized her, he has also never publicly shown affection for her. That silence speaks volumes, and the true tension lies not only in William's heart, but also in the hearts of his children. With her own grandchildren, Camilla is said to be very dedicated often, organizing garden picnics, handing out sweets, and telling bedtime stories. However, with George Charlotte and Louis, there is a clear distance in their relationship. There are no cozy photos, no cheerful anecdotes, only moments that seem staged where warmth is implied but never truly demonstrated. And in Charlotte's case, Camilla's absence at significant events becomes even more apparent. At public ceremonies, Camilla rarely interacts with her grandchildren. Private family gatherings seldom show the closeness between her and her grandchildren either. While Catherine always nurtures a connection, Camilla maintains a certain distance, creating a boundary that is not born of malice, but perhaps uncertainty. It seems that even now she is unsure of her place in the hearts of the future generation. But children are incredibly perceptive, especially Charlotte. And that's when the whisper appeared. A whisper accidentally picked up by the microphone. Although it wasn't meant for the headlines, it was still published. What did Charlotte say in that moment? Some believe it was a comment on Camilla's behavior. Others think it was a question and accidental doubt voiced aloud. Whatever the words, they struck a chord with those who heard them, because they showed that even children within the royal family can sense the divide. Camilla may not have intentionally caused harm, but legacy is not shaped by intention, it is shaped by impact. And if a child raised in a family that values truth and emotions starts to feel discord, coldness, and isolation, what does that say about the unity of the royal family? Camilla's journey to the throne may be complete, but the path for her to earn the affection of the next generation remains filled with questions. The smallest royal woman in this room may just be the one holding the answers. The shadow of Diana still lingers faint, but ever present. She passed away nearly 3 decades ago, yet the influence of Princess Diana has never faded, especially within the Wales family. To the public, she is a symbol of compassion and rebellion. To her grandchildren, she is a legendary figure, not a ghost, not a memory, but something vivid, profound. With Charlotte, the presence of Diana, though long gone, remains particularly vivid. It all began with the stories softly told before bedtime passed down by William and Catherine like family heirlooms. William says that Diana would have loved the laughter of her children. She was courageous, kind, and always spoke the truth. Catherine strengthens Diana's legacy through the charities bearing her name and teaches the children about empathy rather than mere politeness. Charlotte carries Diana's name, and she radiates a fiery beauty, a powerful continuation of a legacy. Observers have long remarked on the striking similarities between Charlotte and Diana, the tilted chin, sharp eyes, and emotions that are never concealed. But more importantly, it is the emotional intelligence, the sense of justice, and the quiet refusal to conform that make the connection between her and Diana undeniable. When Charlotte appears before the public, she exudes calmness and independence, leaving even the most seasoned royal watchers in awe. At the Queen Elizabeth Jubilee, Charlotte did not merely wave. She made a powerful statement with her mischievous smile and knowing gaze, as if she understood far more than she let on. And then the contrast between the two royal women became more evident than ever. If Diana once brought warmth to the cold palaces, Camilla brings peace but not comfort. She brings stillness, stability, but not the warmth a royal family needs. Charlotte, growing up in the embrace of her grandmother's legacy, can sense that difference. She may not fully understand the entire story, but children don't need the truth to recognize a rift. She knows that one woman in her life is spoken of with love and respect, while the other is only mentioned with politeness and reserve. That contrast carries weight, and is gradually shaping her. Charlotte may never sit on the throne, but she could become a figure of power just as formidable. A moral compass for a monarchy, searching for its soul. And Diana's spirit, she doesn't haunt the palace. She is guiding it through a granddaughter, one who sees through everything and speaks up at the most crucial moments, the silent tensions at palace events. Royal occasions are often designed to impress golden carriages, finely crafted hats, smiles meticulously arranged. This is a high-stakes drama, but for those who watch closely, it's not the dazzling display that matters, it's the moments of silence. A fleeting moment in full regalia, lasting less than 3 seconds, went viral almost instantly. When the royal family gathered on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, Princess Charlotte subtly leaned away from Camilla. It was so slight, almost imperceptible, but the cameras caught it, and the frame was frozen, dissected, and analyzed. This was not an isolated incident. At the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, insiders recalled an exchange that reportedly caused a momentary tension within the family. According to reports, Camilla seemed displeased with a brief whisper between Charlotte and George. This moment escalated behind the scenes. Camilla was said to have requested that Charlotte be removed from the row of seats, but William and Catherine refused. The consequences were not severe, but they were undeniably cold. At the coronation, one of the most watched events in royal history, Charlotte's gesture told a story of its own. She bowed respectfully to her grandfather, but when passing Camilla, there was no gaze, no gesture, only silence. Was this a coincidence or a choice? Time and again these small moments accumulate. There are no public outbursts, no royal scandals, just a series of silences that reveal something deeper. The way Charlotte carries herself, the people she turns to, and those she avoids have not escaped the notice of those within the palace. They might dismiss it as the mood swings of a child, but those who understand the language of legacy see it more clearly. Children reveal truths that adults try to hide. And when a royal child raised in emotional fluency begins to withdraw, even if subtly that withdrawal carries weight, Charlotte may never speak it aloud, but she has already spoken, and what she hasn't said is what rewrites everything, the whisper that started it all. So what do you think about the signs Charlotte is showing? Is she starting to realize what's going on around her? Leave a 1 if you sense that change, or a 0 if you think her actions are still not quite clear. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This was never meant to be heard. Not by the cameras, not by the press, and certainly not by a world still haunted by royal tragedies. But in one careless moment, a whisper from Princess Charlotte broke a long-buried, fractured boundary hidden beneath courtly smiles and carefully rehearsed traditions. It happened at a garden party, the kind of event where powdered sugar on pastries hides subtle tensions, and every step is rehearsed. Charlotte, dressed in blue, stood beside her mother, her calm gaze scanning the crowd with the familiar poise. Then came Queen Camilla, smiling, wearing gloves, radiant in a pastel outfit. And then the whisper. The cameras didn't capture the words, but the reactions of those around her were caught. Catherine subtly turned her head towards her daughter. William's face hardened. Camilla paused for half a second, just enough for seasoned royal watchers to feel it. Something had been said. That evening, experts in lip reading and body language carefully analyzed the footage. A theory emerged among the crowd. Charlotte had asked, "Why is she pretending to be nice?" This has never been confirmed, but it doesn't necessarily need to be. The palace, renowned for its silence on internal matters, declined to comment. But behind those closed doors, that moment has not been forgotten. It was the question of a child holding a painful truth, echoing through the gilded halls and creeping into the hearts of a family still haunted by unspoken wounds. For Charlotte, perhaps it was just curiosity. But for those who lived through Diana's years, it carried a meaning far deeper, a ripple from the past. Because the last time anyone dared to openly question royal appearances in such a way, it was Diana who spoke out through interviews, her gaze, and yes, even her jewelry. And now her granddaughter is quietly rebelling. Not with sensational headlines, but simply with 6 gentle words. Why is she pretending to be nice? It was not an attack. It was a reflection. A child raised to trust her emotions, simply reacting to something she couldn't name, but clearly felt. And in doing so, she may have said what others only thought. Some in the company were said to have urged William and Catherine to tighten the boundaries to prevent the children from absorbing outdated narratives. But others closer to the couple believe it is too late. The legacy lives on in Charlotte. Intuition runs deep. The whisper that started it all has now become a quiet symbol, a warning, a change, a moment when the next generation subtly stepped outside the royal mold. And so Diana's voice has found a new home, not in scandal, not in rebellion, but in a whisper that refuses to be ignored. The atmosphere and the mirror. Prince William once served as the bridge between the old and the new, but now he has become the mirror reflecting the contradictions torn between 2 legacies, one born of duty, the other born of truth. And Charlotte's whisper does not only echo through the palace halls, it has reached him. In the days that followed, William was said to be silent, distant, and contemplative. His aides noticed the change. A close source revealed that it wasn't anger. It was acknowledgement. An acknowledgement that his daughter was seeing what he had learned to bury. An acknowledgement that the past isn't truly the past, and perhaps it never will be, because Charlotte's comment didn't come from defiance. It came from intuition, and William knew exactly where she had inherited that from Diana. He has spent many years trying to balance the legacy of his mother with the institution she once sought to escape. He walks with the bearing of a king, but carries within him the memory of a young man who held her hand through the pain. He married for love, raised his children with emotional sincerity, and leads with compassion. But deep down, he still bears the scars of a family struggling with itself. And now he witnesses that struggle unfold once again, this time through the eyes of his daughter. William doesn't want his daughter to bear the same burdens. But how can you shield a child from the truth when that truth is evident in family photos? Camilla, by all official accounts, has never been cruel to the children. But in the royal world, cruelty is often not expressed. It's passive, it's absent, distance, the coldness behind the smile. Charlotte sees it. William realizes that she sees it. And suddenly, the boundary between the past and the future begins to blur. Insiders say that William has become more cautious in his meetings with senior royal members since the whispering incident. He asks more questions, challenges more protocols, and exercises stricter control over who spends time with his children, because he knows what Diana went through. Legacy is not just what you leave behind, it's what you allow to continue. If Charlotte can sense the divide, if at the age of 9 she can recognize which truths sound hollow, then William must decide the path he will lead her down. Will he protect the institution or protect her spirit? That is the same question Diana once asked herself. And now, William stands before the same mirror. This time with his daughter, he is looking at the quiet shield of Catherine. If William is the bridge and Charlotte is the mirror, then Catherine is the shield, silent, resolute, and sharp, beneath her calm, velvet exterior. And in the storm of whispers, the legacy and untold truths rising, Catherine's role has never been more important or more difficult. From the moment she entered the royal family, Catherine mastered the art of survival. She learned the rules, she followed the protocols, and gradually, methodically, she became the monarchy's most invaluable stabilizing force. But beneath her dazzling exterior and dignified demeanor, Catherine carries a fierce maternal instinct. Her top priority has always been her children. And when Charlotte whispered her now famous question, something within Catherine is said to have changed. Those closest to her say she became more cautious, more selective in family gatherings, present more often in meetings with senior royal members. Not to challenge, but to protect, because Catherine understands what unspoken discomfort looks like. She knows how a cold smile can hurt fragile hearts, and she understands exactly how much weight a child's intuition can carry. She doesn't correct Charlotte's instincts. She hides them. It's said that since that incident, Catherine has begun to carefully craft the narrative of Diana, choosing when to speak about her, how to answer difficult questions, and when to let silence speak louder than words. Because the issue isn't just about protecting Charlotte from the past, it's also about preparing her for the future, a future where truth will matter more than tradition, where Charlotte will not only have to navigate the world of crowns and cameras, but also the unspoken expectations and hidden power games. And in that future, Catherine is her silent general. Some may see her silence as passive, but they don't understand her strategy. She doesn't attack. She surrounds, she absorbs, and when the time comes, she defends. In contrast, Camilla is all calculation and distance. And while Catherine displays her natural grace in public, the boundaries remain firm in private, especially now when Charlotte is observing, learning, and growing. And perhaps Catherine's greatest legacy is not her title or her charity work. It may be the emotional fortress she is carefully building around her daughter's soul. The voice of Diana in a modern monarchy. It was never just about the crown or the tears. Princess Diana didn't want to destroy the monarchy. She wanted to humanize it, to whisper the truth into a palace that had forgotten how to listen. And now, nearly 30 years later, her voice still resonates not in rebellion but in legacy. And it is rising through Charlotte. The question is not whether Diana's spirit still exists. That voice echoes through generations, through William's way of raising his children, through Catherine's protection, and now through Charlotte's quiet defiance. The monarchy has tried to move on. Camilla has been renamed. Charles has ascended the throne. New portraits have replaced the old ones. But none of that diminishes Diana's influence. Because her impact hasn't faded, it continues to resonate. And Charlotte is resonating, not through headlines, not through interviews, but through a glance, a step, a whisper. Diana wore jewelry with meaning. Charlotte wears her name with a clear purpose. Diana questioned the institution from within. Charlotte senses the imbalance without anyone saying a word. And that is what the company fears the most. You can fabricate stories, you can manage reputations, but you can't control what a child sees. If Charlotte at just 9 years old can already sense which room is colder, which hand is more sincere, and which smile is empty, then the story is far from over. It's evolving. And in this evolution, Diana's voice has not faded. It is becoming sharper. What will the future hold? The monarchy has always existed through silence, through structure, through traditions wrapped in ceremony. But what happens when the future learns to speak? What happens when that future braids her hair, asks questions, and bows only when it feels right? What happens when her name is Charlotte? The monarchy now stands on the edge. William is the heir. Catherine is the heart. But Charlotte may be the change they have never seen before because she is not rebellious. She is reflecting, and her reflection is what the crown has tried to control for generations, the truth of humanity. The question isn't whether she will become queen. It's how she will become a queen. A woman living in truth like Diana, one shaped in warmth like Catherine, or one weaving through shadows like Camilla. She may still be many years away from titles or duties, but her presence carries weight. Her instincts have made people wary behind the palace walls. Her voice, no matter how soft, is bending the steel of centuries-old tradition. The future is not in the throne. It lies in the child who one day may choose not to sit on it. And if that child has whispered the truth, the crown should listen. Because what Charlotte sees now will shape the next monarchy. And if Diana's light truly exists, it will burn brightly within her. The crown, the whispers, and the calculations, they've tried to write a new chapter. A chapter where the crown shines untouched by the past. But as each whisper from Charlotte grows louder, that polished story begins to crack. Those within the royal family hope that time will soften Diana's legacy, that Camilla's crown will shine brightly in her own way. But now the past is not just returning. It is asserting itself through the smallest voices within the family. William knows this. Catherine is wary of it. And Charlotte, she simply reflects it without filter, without fear. And so the monarchy stands at a crossroads. The crown still rests on Charles's head, but the future is quietly taking shape in school hallways, garden paths, and the whispered questions behind palace doors. A child asks why some people pretend to be kind, and suddenly the history of many generations echoes through that question. Because once a whisper is spoken, it cannot be taken back, and the truth it carries cannot either. Camilla's crown and Diana's curse. Each royal title holds its own weight, but none is heavier than that of Queen Camilla because her crown is not one given with affection. It is a crown forged through fire. Time has granted her a new appearance. The public has been asked to forget, but the echoes of Diana are not so easily silenced. And now, in the era of Charlotte, that echo resounds even more loudly. Every event, every gesture is observed with sharper eyes. Camilla walks through a family that accepts her presence but rarely embraces it. And Charlotte, quietly, perceptively, unwaveringly, has become the symbol of that unease. Camilla may reign beside a king, but she will never escape the queen who was never crowned. Because Diana left behind more than just sorrow. She left a warning. And Charlotte may be the living reminder of that. Legacy cannot be erased. The palace can edit press releases. The crown can touch up portraits, but legacy is not in the title. It lies in the truth, and Charlotte is the truth. Wrapped in silk, equipped with instinct, she doesn't choose sides, she simply sees what is. Camilla holds the crown, but Diana holds the memory of the world. And through Charlotte, that memory moves, breathes, and waits. No royal decree can control the heart of a child. No ceremony can dictate her emotions. And what Charlotte feels one day may change everything. The question is no longer whether she will see the truth, but what she will do with it when the time comes. Because Diana's story is far from over, and Charlotte may be the one to write its ending. So what does this hidden ring mean for William and the future of the crown? Diana may have gone, but her voice is clearly still there. Thank you for staying until the end. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. We truly appreciate it.